So tomorrow my family and I are going on a road trip in our 2020 Tesla Model X Long Range Plus, and it's going to be the first road trip we've done in this Tesla. We've done a couple of road trips, my wife and I, in our Model 3 we used to own. We traded that for a Model Y, and on top of that we bought the Model X. So this one's going to be a little different because the road trips in the Model 3 were just my wife and I, and now we're going to be bringing our two kids along, 2.5 years old and 9 months old. And that's going to be kind of crazy. Now, the road trip isn't too long. It's only about 600 miles, and it's going to be about 3 charging stops. So here's our planned route. Now, I don't expect we will actually follow this, but what's funny is, people talk about road trips and say EVs are bad because you have to stop and charge. But each leg of this trip is about 2 hours between chargers. And when you have kids in child seats, you're supposed to stop about every 2 hours for a minimum of 10 minutes anyway. And so it works out in that way. And I just cannot imagine that the kids are gonna make it to each charging stop without needing to stop for some reason in between those anyway. So most likely we will need to stop more than the car does. Now, the first stop at Lima, Ohio is at a hotel, which is not really the most convenient place if you want to go to a restaurant or something. Now, we don't want to do that. We're going to bring a bunch of food with us and just kind of eat on the go. But we may stop somewhere a little earlier, depending if the kids are asleep, then heck no, we're not stopping. Let's just go. But if they're getting kind of cranky or they want to get out of the car or something, we'll stop at a closer Supercharger that has some other stuff nearby rather than tucked away at a hotel. We also haven't packed a ton yet, because we have to use a lot of the stuff that we're packing, and so we'll be packing a lot in the morning. But what we have put in here so far, this car is big, obviously, and because of no gasoline engine and no gas tank and things like that, there is so much room for storage. The frunk fit our pack and play and a duffel bag and like all the diapers, like in the frunk. That stuff takes up a lot of room and it's all packed away already. That was really exciting. And there is a little more room still left in the front for maybe one more thing. The sub trunk in the X is also huge. There is a really big pit under the trunk where you can put things that you don't need to get on the road. And we have a duffel bag in there and there's still plenty of room. So space is not going to be an issue at all. This is the 6-seater, and so we have 2 car seats in the middle, we have the back seats folded down, and then of course we'll be in the front. So yeah, I think this might be kind of a tough one with the kids, but we'll see. Maybe they'll sleep most of the time, maybe they'll be happy. We got them some new, cheap little toys at the dollar store to kind of give them every once in a while if they're getting cranky. That'll work for giant baby, but small baby, no, probably won't care about any kind of toys so much, but we may just have to take some breaks for her. So this should answer some questions for you. Electric vehicle road trips, spoiler alert, they are viable, they are awesome. They do take more time than a gas car, but we found that the extra time is kind of part of the vacation, and it makes you feel a lot better taking a break every once in a while, getting out, walking around. And the cars charge so fast, you're not usually waiting for them. The car usually is waiting for you. Sometimes, of course, there's some longer charges depending on the route you have. But we've went from Michigan to North Carolina. We've also went from Michigan to New York City. Now we're going from Michigan to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So I will see you in the morning. Let's get going. All right, so real quick, here we are before we go. We packed up everything. We have a couple mattresses for the kids, a slightly bigger one and then a smaller one that goes in the pack and play. We have like the baby seat for eating, toys, my duffel bag, Stephanie's duffel bag. I didn't do the most efficient job of packing. If you look, there's huge space here where I could fit more things if I wanted to, but we're pretty much done, so I'm okay with that. In the middle here, we actually have this cooler that plugs into the 12-volt outlet in the back. So that's plugged in and has some refrigerated items that we're keeping. So you really do use all the kind of extra storage. The frunk storage came really in handy, and the sub trunk storage came really in handy because even with all that, we're really packed in. And like this is, I mean, I have to give it a little assist here at the end when I close it. I just gotta kind of push it with my hand, but we should be all good. I also made sure, you gotta think of this tunnel in the middle here. Hopefully that'll adjust. That's a big wide open space, so if you slam on the brakes, you don't want anything heavy in the middle that could come flying up. So I put kind of more soft stuff in the middle. This is stuck here, so this shouldn't move. All right, so we're heading out. We got started late. We were aiming for 7, but that was never gonna happen. But this is fine. I forgot the stroller when I was packing, so that extra room I mentioned, I had to kind of pull some stuff out and make good use of it. Oh, sorry about that. So what's up? So we're heading to the Lima, Ohio Supercharger, which, like I mentioned, is like a pretty boring one. It's just got a hotel at it, and it's a little over 2 hours away, so it might be too far. So we may reroute to the Findlay, Ohio Supercharger, but we'll just have to see as we get closer. If everybody's like chilling and sleeping, then we're just gonna go all the way. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure we're gonna end up at this one. All right, so we're finally on the highway. We did go through the car wash real quick because the car was like caked in dirt, as you saw, and that kind of does hurt efficiency, especially when you have huge chunks. But now the car is like shaking a little bit because when you have all that dirt on your car and you go through the car wash, it can kind of go to one side. And like right now it's not shaking at all, but it kind of is coming and going as the dirt is moving around in there. So hopefully it'll fall off or even out or something. Normally what I do at home is I take like a screwdriver and I just knock some of the dirt out of the wheel and then it's all fixed. So I don't know, it doesn't hurt anything. It's just annoying mostly. We just may have to stop at some point and yeah, clean that out, I don't know. But looking at Lima, we just got this message, stay below 85, which we wouldn't go that fast probably anyway. It says we're gonna arrive there now with 4%. So, I mean, without kids, that would probably be fine, and we're so used to this now. We're most likely gonna stop earlier.
We are.
Okay, but sometimes what we found, like in the one with the Model 3, it would always arrive with more than it said. So it would say 4, and then we get there with like 10. Like it would be pretty dramatic. So as we get closer, we'll see, but there are several chargers. I think I can just click this. If you see here, there are several chargers along the route, so it's not like we want for charging at all. So
Just if you're driving a dirty Tesla, keep it dirty for the road.
Seriously, I know.
We're just like sitting in it feels like one of those massage chairs. It's just like vibrating constantly.
I totally forgot that happens. That's my bad. All right, so we're getting off the highway, heading into this first supercharger. Trying not to talk too loud because we've got a sleeping baby, which is great news. And I can't believe we made it to the first supercharger without stopping. Now we did route to the closer one. It kept getting less and less. It kept saying we were going to arrive with 4%, and then it said 3%. I think we have a pretty big headwind, and it's also a lot colder than we thought. It was like 40, 50 degrees a couple days ago, and now all of a sudden it dropped to 10 last night, and so, oh, I'll get him. No, there you go, you got him. So yeah, so far this is going well. This one's at a Denny's, which is like not really the most convenient thing, but we should be able to run in there and use their bathroom. And we brought food and stuff, but I forgot the water. 24-pack of water, and Stephanie's like not very happy, but that's okay. That was my bad. We'll pick up some more water somewhere. So yeah, pretty smooth so far.
Yeah, no complaints.
Good. Yeah, the kids aren't freaking out yet. I'm sure it'll happen, but yeah, pretty good. So this is where the convenience of having a supercharger comes in, because yeah, gas is faster overall, but we can plug in here and then, walk into this Denny's while the car's charging. Whereas if, we have gas, you don't really want to walk away while you're filling up. I know some people do, but you're supposed to kind of hang out with your car.
Yeah, and if you have kids, you have to stop and get out and let them stretch their legs anyway.
All right, well, it's bottle time, but somebody doesn't want to eat. So we're charging up. I don't even know what the next supercharger is, because now that we stopped early, we have to go somewhere else. So I'm trying to feed her, and we're currently at 107 kilowatts. We started around 177. I checked as I was walking in. So that's good. This is a 250 kilowatt supercharger. I'm sure, to be honest, the car's probably ready to go. It's just such a different trip with kids. And like, if she doesn't want to eat, like, it's time. So we can't leave till she eats. So it's going to take some time to do all that. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe how smooth it's going so far. Like, nobody's freaked out. Nobody's really cried yet. So that's what I thought was going to be happening the whole time. So yeah, we're doing good. We just need to eat. Okay. And then we'll be on our way. Amazon trucks are back.
It must be an Amazon.
That's crazy. All right. So another thing I want to talk about is the cost of supercharging, which for us, thanks to viewers like you, will be free, because we had a lot of referral. We have like 300,000 referral miles. So all our supercharging will be free, but I'll try to put on the screen what it would have cost if we were paying for it. This one was pretty expensive at 34 cents per kilowatt hour. That's pretty expensive. But I mean, of course, a lot cheaper than gas. but then you have the extra time of charging. So back onto the route, we're still gonna go to Lima, Ohio, unfortunately, but it's more due to the kids because small baby does not want to eat. And so we're gonna give her, it's gonna take us about a half hour to get there. Hopefully by then, she'll be hungry enough that she'll eat. She's just so distracted by the car and all that stuff that she just doesn't want to eat. So, yep, back on the road, and I don't know, going well so far. All right, so we're here at the Lima Supercharger. Hopefully the wind isn't too bad for the mic. It is so windy and so cold. We're just out here checking out this little field they got. The car is done. It doesn't really need any more charge, but small baby's eating. Giant baby said, I want to get out and play. So she doesn't seem to mind the cold and the wind. I am dying. I forgot at the last Supercharger to clean out the wheels. So like, here's a picture to show you what I'm talking about. Sometimes when you get a car wash and you have all that dirt, it'll all go to one side. So in the driver's wheel, there was, all right, come here. Come back. Don't go too far. In the driver's wheel, there was a huge mound of dirt, which, you know, unbalances the wheel. I went around and I used the stick I'm using with this GoPro to kind of wipe or like get all that out. So hopefully it's good. It might take one more stop to make sure I got it all, but the rest of the wheels didn't look too bad. But yeah, wow, it's so cold. Okay, we're gonna keep going. I think, are you good? Do you want to go? Do you want to drive in the car? Oh no, uh-oh, that's not good. Well, you're gonna have to. Yeah, the last stop I didn't really talk about, the Denny's, was actually pretty nice. I went in there and they didn't care. I just asked them where the bathroom was and they pointed out to me, but I did buy a coffee. I kind of felt like, you know, I'm using your bathroom, whatever, I should do something. So I bought a coffee from them. And they were super nice. The Supercharger seems like it's brand new. Nobody else was there the whole time we were there. At Lima, there's 2 other people. I think one already left. So Lima is actually free. It's free for everybody. So this one is free no matter if you have referral miles or not. And then the other one, you know, like I said, was pretty expensive, but it was pretty good. I know there is some garbage here. That's not very nice. Somebody should clean it up. Wish I would have brought a bag or something. That would be smart when you're at the, people do that when they're at the Supercharger. They'll have a bag and a little hook and they'll pick it up. So, all right, we're gonna keep going. Say bye.
Bye.
All right, so we're just about to hit the 3rd Supercharger now. We stopped at Wendy's to get food so we can eat while it's charging. The car estimates a 45-minute charge. I don't know if it actually needs that long, but we're gonna go inside so the kids can use the bathroom, and we're gonna buy some water because I forgot. So that's probably about what it will be. We'll see if we have to wait. That's kind of the interesting part, is like if you end up having to spend more time.
Hi, can I have 2
charging,
junior cheeseburgers?
Then you do waiting around, so we'll see.
2
so
small fries. And what size fry do you want?
Large.
A large fry and
So we're gonna get this food and we're
a
gonna go
small
charge.
Pepsi, and that's all.
We're at like
Coke.
We're at like 26% or so. The wind was insane. We were using 450 watt-hours per mile for a lot of it.
Yes.
And then the wind died down and it went down to like 300 watt-hours per mile, which this car, if my Google I just did a second ago is correct, is rated around 350 watt-hours per mile. So we were actually below the rated range without the wind. But the wind can be pretty scary.
Get up there.
The wind can be pretty scary because it's really hard to predict. This is the life.
Yeah.
She's embarrassed that we're about to pay.
No, I need the money.
Oh, you need the money. I thought you were like nerd.
No, it's just
You're
like,
also thinking
this
that.
is like the worst timing.
This is
because
the
I
best
need to
timing.
talk to you.
No, this is the best timing because we're about to be really busy with the kids.
Do you want me to? What do I do with this?
So we were as high as 450 watt-hours per mile. We went down to 300, and that makes a huge difference. The estimated arrival percentage went all the way from 17% as the low. Now it's like we're getting there with 26 or 25%. So wind is scary because it makes a huge difference, especially if you're going straight into it, which I know we were for a bit. I saw some flags pointing the other way. And it's hard to predict the wind. It's hard to account for the wind when you're trying to do calculations and stuff of your thing. Now, the car will mostly do it for you, and if like you're not going to make it to a Supercharger, it will get you to one. It'll like reroute you to a closer one. But
If you're doing
I'm almost done. It'll reroute you to a closer one, so like it'll do it. You don't have to think about it. But if you like to plan your trip out, it's just something to think about. So, all right, that's enough. You want what? Oh, okay.
Oh, you're about to get some. Coming.
Do you have anything to add?
Do
Do you want to add anything to this section?
I'm gonna eat my Wendy's.
All right, Florence, Kentucky. This one has 16 stalls, and it's a pretty busy one.
I'm gonna go in between here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can go wherever you want. This is a version 3, and so...
And there's...
Just back up. So you can go wherever you want. You don't have to worry about parking next to someone in a version 3. So that's really nice and convenient. So good job backing in. That's perfect. And back up like all the way. Like way more than you think. Get really close. It's a fisheye lens, so it looks like you're really close, but there's still...
I was looking at the number, but
Oh.
and I was hitting the pedal, but it just was going slow.
Like kind of
I backed into my first Supercharger.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess you're plugging in.
Nope.
What? Go plug it in. Take that.
No.
Go fast.
Why am I taking this?
Go
It's
plug it in.
awkward. You go do it.
It's on your side. It's on the driver's side. All right, I'll do it.
I'm a lady.
What does that mean?
You're a man.
You're a strong, independent woman.
No, I'm not.
You heard it here first.
Without you, I have nothing, truly.
See, I made her back up like a ton, and still, like, it looks a little far. Yeah, it's good. But if she didn't back up, any more. Open, please. Yeah, so you can see, it's the thinner charger for V3. It's really nice. All right, we got to take care of some kids. Here you go.
Okay, when you're done with that, we'll give you the banana.
You said you wanted fruit. All right, so we're sitting here eating. I'm not eating, but I will.
Are you seriously recording again?
Yeah, why not? They want to know. And the car says 3 minutes to continue on trip, and we will not be ready in 3 minutes. So I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but the car is waiting for us again. But barely this time.
Let us know when you need it peeled more.
You're welcome. So the car will be waiting for us again, but barely this time. It'll be pretty close, actually. So it worked out pretty well. So, yeah.
Couldn't have done it any faster.
No.
2 kids.
Yeah, we went in Meyer and we got out as fast as we could. There wasn't even a line. We didn't wait in line at all. We went right to the self-checkout. We got water and screwdriver. I gotta do that.
Oh.
Okay, you can get those yourself, I guess. And
But you can't
I
get...
know. What's up? Okay. All right, bye.
We are in Kentucky and things are going good so far. Kids are doing good. A little bit of screaming, nothing major. Chris got the dirt out of the tires. We stopped at the store and bought a screwdriver. That's his tool of choice, and he was able to kick some of the dirt out of there, so now it's much smoother, but man, what a difference that made.
And I want to emphasize that's not a Tesla thing. That happened in our Ford Focus and our Equinox. It's just like a dirt road thing.
It's a dirty thing, not a dirty Tesla thing, just a dirty thing. Autopilot's been good, right?
Yeah, it's been perfect.
I'm sure that Chris would prefer that he had the full self-driving for the lane changes and all that, but we're doing good. As a passenger, I'm enjoying myself. It's very comfortable and relaxing. And Chris stuck this stuff, what is that stuff that you put in the...
Oh, some kind of expanding foam or something.
He put this expanding foam in one of the pillars, and it really reduced a lot of the road noise. So... Wind noise. So yeah, it's been a nice smooth ride and we're doing good and just cruising along.
All right, I don't know how it sounds with the wind because the wind is back. This is definitely the worst supercharger we've been to. Now, location is really good. You got a McDonald's, big McDonald's gas station right there. It's right exactly off the highway, so no really extra time to get here. and it's conveniently located along the highway, but it's 6 stalls. It's in a really high traffic area, and it's 150 kilowatts. So we're actually sharing right now because we had to share with someone, and we were only getting 75 kilowatts. Now we're down to about 70 or 68 or something. Now we're already done charging again, pretty much. So for us, it was fine. We only needed a little bit of charge, and we're so busy with the kids, as I've been saying throughout this whole trip, that it didn't affect us at all. But for most people, that's not the case. Most people want to spend as little time here as possible, and this could take a long time, especially 6 stalls. I actually thought we might have to pause and wait for somebody, because at one point it said there was only 1 stall available, but when we got here there were 4 open, so we had no choice but to share. So yeah, if this was upgraded even to just a V3 with no more stalls, that would pretty much double the capacity right there, because sharing doesn't matter. But adding 2 or maybe doubling the stalls is probably a really good idea on this one. Other than that, location's perfect. McDonald's with big gas station with decent bathrooms in and everything, like that's awesome. So yeah, this is our last stop. I don't know if I'll check in when we get there or what I'll do, but we're ready to go. So we're gonna head out. We've had our snacks, everybody's eaten, and we're gonna continue on the trip. So it's been smooth the whole time, like no problems at all. So it's been really nice. All right, so let's talk driving for just a second. We're using base autopilot in this car. We do not have full self-driving. So the biggest difference, honestly, is that it won't make lane changes on its own, and it won't navigate you on the highway to get, take exits or do interchanges and things. Well, I gotta say, this car does have radar as well. It has been amazing. We did have 1 phantom brake. The car only dropped maybe 3 or 4 miles per hour, but the phantom braking in a radar car is a lot more harsh than the vision ones. The vision ones, it happens more often, but it's very gentle. In the radar cars, it really does hit the brakes. So my foot was on the accelerator, no big deal, I just pushed through. Other than that, I mean, it has been pretty much flawless. You agree with that? Because she's bigger than I am, and she's been very happy with it. With the phantom brake, you just kind of looked at me and you were like, what was that? And I was like, I hit the brake. And she goes, oh, okay. That was it. So, yeah. No big deal. I actually really enjoy it. I like in the legacy cars, you have this little stalk here, your little autopilot stalk. I actually kind of enjoy that, only because it lets you change everything with your left hand just sitting on that stalk. You can go faster, slower, get closer to the person in front of you, turn autopilot on and off. Well, this hand is, holding the wheel or doing something else, but you can hold the wheel while messing with that stalk. It's very nice. So the driving experience has been perfect. The X is super comfortable. After I got the dirt out of the wheels and stopped the shaking, that was terrible. And the suspension is so nice, and the suspension automatically changes for comfort. And I was noticing it was going to standard because you want it to be low or very low. That's the most efficient for highway driving. But it was going up to standard for our comfort, and I think it's because the dirt. I think it's because the dirt was in the wheels, and I don't know, it was throwing it off or something. But now it's on low right now. I put it on very low. So it's been perfect. I feel like relaxed. I've been driving the whole way. Stephanie drove through the Wendy's drive-through for a minute and then backed into the Supercharger. That was it. But I'm good. We got 2 hours left, no more stops unless a kid, freaks out or something. But they've been great too. So it's been an awesome trip. And last thing, even though in standard autopilot you don't get lane changes, when you put the turn signal on, the resistance in the steering wheel to keep autopilot on is drastically reduced. So you turn the turn signal on, you make your lane change manually, and there's pretty much no resistance at that point, and then you just double click the stalk again, and it turns back on. So, I know there's this huge desire for the auto lane changes for people with autopilot, and it would be nicer, I guess, but I've had a great time. Actually, this is great. I don't mind it at all. You kind of forget when you use beta for so long, and it's so goofy all over the place, you kind of forget how solid just like standard normal autopilot really is. I mean, it's awesome. All right, I guess I'm just holding my monster phone. So here we are at the end of the trip. It's actually the last day of the trip and we're heading home tomorrow, but I haven't had time to record the conclusions. I'm at the Pigeon Forge Supercharger, just charging up, getting ready for tomorrow to have enough charge to get out. We could have left, so I was at about 50% or 45% when I got here. We definitely could have just left the cabin with that charge, but it would have wanted us to stop here and it's only 15 minutes from where we're staying, so we'd rather get a big majority of the driving out of the way early in the morning. So I'm going to charge up to, I don't know, 70 or 80% is really all we need, and then head back home, and we'll be plugged in overnight on a 1 kilowatt just normal wall charger, which can give us like another 10% or so, so that's not that bad. So just doing that here. But to summarize the trip, it was super easy, super fun, super comfortable. So let's talk charging, because that's kind of the biggest thing, obviously, with EVs versus gas cars. If your only goal on a road trip when you're trying to get somewhere is to shave off every minute and every second that you can. Of course, a gas car will be faster overall. An EV will be slower. It cannot get there as quickly. The difference, though, is not as dramatic as a lot of people probably think. And especially for us on this trip, just because of, the 2 kids, we have very young kids. They needed a lot of attention, a lot of things from us when we did make those stops. There was not one single charging stop that we made that we spent more time charging, like sitting there waiting, like, okay, we're ready. I wish the car would finish charging so we could go. Every stop was us taking longer in the car saying, all right, continue on your trip. What are you doing? Why are you sitting here? So from that aspect, the charging is fine. Of course, it's super cheap. I didn't calculate yet, but I'll put it on the screen what it would have cost if we didn't have free supercharging. But here's also a screenshot of that day, what we spent, how many kilowatt hours we used, things like that. So the charging aspect was awesome. So it's free, which is awesome compared to gas. I do want to talk about the Model X for a second. Incredibly comfortable, a great ride, really good road trip car. It does use a lot more energy than, say, the Model Y. Of course, it's bigger and heavier and all of that, and it's older. This is the 2020 Model X, so it has resistive heater and things like that. But incredibly comfortable. Love the air suspension after I fixed my stupid mistake with the dirt in the wheels. We got that figured out, but the seats are really comfortable. Plenty of room to do everything we need, pack everything we need. So that was really nice. Another thing I should mention about the energy usage is I had a cooler plugged into the 12-volt outlet in the back the entire trip, keeping our cooler at about 5 degrees Celsius. So that definitely is a power draw. I don't know. I have no idea how much, but like, let's say it used 100 watts, right? That's something. I mean, that's going to make a difference. It definitely is. So that's also something to keep in mind for our amount of energy we used and our consumption figures. But yeah, had a great time. Wouldn't want to do it any other way. Now that I've had Tesla road trips, especially because of Autopilot and the stopping, I kind of enjoy now taking that little break here and there, getting to walk around, just kind of take a break. You feel so good when you get to your destination versus that like gas car thing of like, I don't want to stop. I'm going to go 12 hours. I've done it before. Of course I've had gas cars before. I did a 12-hour road trip, which is what we did here. And I stopped one single time. I did it. I filled up it right in the middle. I went all the way to E as empty as I could. And I got to my destination, and that whole next day, I was grumpy. I was busy, so I couldn't sleep. I remember I was pissed off. I just did not have a good time. When I finally finished what I was doing that day, I don't know, it was a few years ago, but I'm going to guess like, let's say 2 p.m. or something. I got home and I just went to sleep. I just slept the whole time because I had that mentality for the whole road trip, and I wore myself out. I love this style of road trip. It's so nice. It's so convenient and it's so comfortable. So overall, highly recommended. If you have any doubts, I think you will enjoy your Tesla road trip for sure. Other EVs I can't speak to because the charging situation is just going to be so dramatically different compared to the Supercharger network that it's not something I can comment on because I have the Supercharger network. I don't have to rely on other charging methods that maybe aren't as reliable or aren't as fast or aren't in as convenient of locations. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. I can answer those. And check out part 2, our drive home, which I'm going to start filming right now as I do my final charge. Okay, so we were going to do part 2, which was coming home, but I got food poisoning the night before, and so I was sick. I was puking the whole way home. So Stephanie drove the whole way home. So we're going to talk about her experience driving, because that was definitely the longest she's driven a Tesla and the most she's used Autopilot. And before we do that, I wanted to mention EcoWear. I got a new little kind of partner thing going on. They have sweet clothes and stuff. They're actually carbon negative, not carbon neutral. So if you buy a hat or a shirt, they have tons of different cool designs. You actually remove carbon from the atmosphere, which is cool. They plant trees and all this stuff. So discount code Dirty Tesla down below. But anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, when Chris woke me up at 3 in the morning and told me he was sick, and I realized that I was probably going to have to drive us all the way home by myself, I was not excited. But the truth is, I was not alone. I had my Autopilot buddy, and
Not Autopilot buddy. That's something people put on the steering wheel and cheat it.
Oh, nope.
She's saying Autopilot was her buddy.
Autopilot was my friend.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, Autopilot was a huge help, and I found myself actually enjoying the drive more than being the passenger. Because Chris drove the whole way down, and it was like kind of fun driving back with Autopilot. Like, I was surprised, but it was fun. And you're talking to somebody who is like, I never use Autopilot ever. Like, I forgot how to turn it on.
Yeah, as we were going, you were like, wait, what do I do with this stalk? What do I do with this one? Or it's only the one stalk, but like, what does up do? How do I go faster, slower? At one point, there was a little bit more traffic, and the stopping was a little scary for Stephanie, and so we increased the follow distance. So we were farther away from the cars ahead of us, and then you liked that a lot more. So it did help a lot, and that's what, when people aren't used to it, to Autopilot, that's what they realize really quickly, is that it's just such a support. And it did nothing wrong, right? I don't think it ever did anything wrong.
No, it didn't even beep at me or do any crazy phantom braking on me or anything like that. And going back to what you said about the braking, you know, like when you're coming into a heavy traffic situation and all of a sudden people are slowing way down, like it just took longer to slow down than I would have liked, because mostly out of concern for the people behind me. Like, I wanted them to see like that I was slowing down early enough so it didn't come on suddenly for them. Like, I trusted that Autopilot was going to stop, but
Yeah,
I just wanted, and it was nice because it was an easy adjustment. There's just so much mental energy involved in driving a car, and I don't think I ever truly realized just how much until I started using Autopilot on that drive home. Driving, like, road trips are exhausting, and it's like, how can it be so exhausting when all you're doing is just sitting all day? But there's so much thinking all the time that has to happen, and Autopilot definitely helps. Like, it's just nice to have like another set of eyes, if you will.
Yeah,
you know, like with you, supporting you.
Yes, and it's like adjusting in your lane, those kind of things. Like, you don't even realize, but you're doing so much just to keep the car straight. And then when Autopilot can do that for you, it just makes it a lot easier.
Oh, it was so much more relaxing. But one thing I will say for any new Autopilot users out there, I did have times where I would change lanes and the car stays in cruise control, and which was very, very nice. But I would then forget that I wasn't in Autopilot, that I was only in adaptive cruise control, and a few times had to like be like, oh, whoops, like I'm steering the car right now, gotta put Autopilot back on. But that only happened a couple times.
So on top of that, the drive home was pretty uneventful. It was a lot harder for the kids on that leg. On the whole way home, they just weren't as happy. I'm sure they were exhausted from the week, napping and food, and everything is just thrown off. So that's got to be a lot harder. They don't fully understand why they're stuck sitting in this little car seat for so long. But they handled it okay. And then again, I was like just so sick, I couldn't really do much. Whereas on the way down there, while I was driving, Stephanie was able to kind of talk to them and hand them toys or trade toys, do whatever, kind of keep them entertained a little bit. And I was just like curled up in a ball on the side of the car, just trying not to die. But I was okay by the next day. We did saw Nathan, if you're watching this, hello, who's part of the Tesla Owners Club of Michigan, and I felt so bad because he came up and said hi, which is great, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I do not feel good, so I just like went and hid. But yeah, it was.
But I got to talk to him, so that's cool.
That's good. So yeah, it's always nice to see people at the Superchargers and say hi and stuff like that. We talked to another guy at another Supercharger. He didn't know me or anything, but he just was talking about his Tesla, and we were talking about how great it was, and we loved the road tripping experience and everything. So again, like in terms of charging and everything, we did about pretty much the exact same thing that we did on the way there that you saw. There was one different Supercharger at a different mire in the middle at some point, but everything was just super smooth. We just went to the Supercharger, plugged in, and again, every time on the way home, the car was done charging before we were ready to go. So I just had the charger up to 100% limit because that takes so long, you'll probably never hit that. So I just limited it at 100%, and then we do whatever we needed to with the kids, and then we were able to move on just kind of like as soon as we were ready, we would hop in and drive away. We didn't like even especially on the way home, I didn't even look at the charge. I don't think you did either. Like we didn't even care. We didn't even look at how many miles we had.
It was so easy. Like I was so nervous. Like when I pulled into the first Supercharger by myself, I was like, I've never done this before. Like I have to back in. Like how do I do this? And it was so easy. And like you just plug it in. Like you don't have to push a bunch of buttons. I didn't have to like stick my credit card in a machine and like stand out by the car and freeze. Like it was so much easier than pumping gas.
Right. And so, yeah, it was nice. Yeah, and again, that's another thought is like if you're pumping gas, in the exact situation we were in, of course, gas can be faster, but if we have all this stuff to do with the kids, you would have to pump the gas. You should hang out there while it's pumping, which, it takes 2 or 3 minutes.
The kids are screaming the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got to move the car and park somewhere else anyway. So in that way, I would venture to say we probably saved a couple minutes, maybe two or three per stop. I don't want to go crazy with that thought, but it was very convenient. And not on one single charge on the way home did I even look at the percentage or the miles or anything. We just plugged in and then I knew that we could go. It was as simple as that. So overall, the trip, super simple, super fun, free, completely free charging. So I put the estimated cost in the other part where I was doing the outro for part 1, even though this is all the same video now. The estimated cost, you can guess, would be pretty much exactly the same on the way home. We actually used slightly less energy on the way home because we didn't have a huge headwind and it wasn't nearly as cold on the way home as it was on the way out. But yeah, I did some of the math, probably somewhere around $50 for the total trip. Which would not be too bad. Of course, again, for us, it was free because of referral miles. And there are a lot of people that have free supercharging and things like that. But none of that if you buy a new Tesla today. As of the making of this video, there's no real free miles that you're getting from any source. So overall, trip was great. Model X is awesome. This Legacy interior is not a nice layout. Like cup holders are not that good. And we're trading this car in a couple days for the refresh Model X. So make sure you are subscribed and hit like and all that so you can see videos about the refresh. I would love to take the refresh on the road trip. I think it would have been even better. Charging is slightly faster, which I guess after the discussion we've had wouldn't matter at all, but if you needed it. And interior layout is a lot nicer, especially like in this layout, there's not a good spot to even just like set your phone. You have to like put it away. Like there's a good spot for one phone, not two when you have 2 adults in the front. But overall, great car, extremely comfortable ride. Quiet enough, although for the price of this car, the road noise is too much. Cargo capacity was good, but not as good as I thought. And then you got to also kind of think about, you can't really put anything on the roof. I think there is something you can put up there if you're careful with the Falcon Wing doors. I'm not exactly sure. But because of the way the doors open, you can't put a normal traditional roof rack up there and carry your cargo on top like you could with the Model Y, right? So if we wanted to take the Model Y, if there wasn't quite enough room on the inside of the car, we could get something, put it on top, and then boom, you have all that extra cargo space, which you can't really do in the X because of the Falcon Wing doors. So overall, great experience. I would definitely pick this over the Y though for road trips, just mostly for comfort and room. There's so much more space inside. But yeah, once we get the refresh interior, the layout of the interior with the additional room, and hopefully I'm hoping it's gonna be a lot quieter than this one because road noise on this one is very bad. Is pretty bad. For the price, it's very bad. Overall, it's like okay. But anyway, yeah, if you have any questions about Tesla road trips, Model X, Model Y, whatever, leave those down below and I can answer your questions down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this one and you will see me and maybe Stephanie in the next video.